Hello, Big Ten fans. Charlie Clark here. Michael Dugan. We're with the Interns. These are our promised bowl picks for the bowl season. We've got 8 games. Let's fly through them.
We have $800 on the line too, $100 a game.
Yes, we do.
We don't. We're totally kidding. We don't have that kind of money. We're
I would not be willing to make that bet.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, because a lot of these games are terrible, and we don't. Actually, not terrible.
Not terrible.
A couple of these games are terrible.
Yeah.
The first game that's pretty terrible: Foster Farms Bowl, Purdue versus Arizona. In this one, I'm just taking Arizona because of Khalil Tate. He's the only real playmaker on the field on both sides. You have a couple of decent players, but he's the only guy I'm really watching for in that game, so I'm going to take Arizona.
Yeah, Purdue's interesting. I think people are high on them because of their turnaround and the fact that they were able to, compete with some big name teams, beat Iowa, beat Indiana to finish off their season, go bowling. But they have so many holes, and they're really well coached, but I don't know that they have the personnel on the field to keep up with Khalil Tate. I think it's going to be a close game, but I got Arizona as well. I hate to agree with you there, but it's going to be close.
We'll do a coin flip one near the end.
Okay.
I'll just take whoever you're not.
Okay, that works. That works.
Not taking. All right, Pinstripe Bowl, Iowa versus Boston College. There's going to be no offense in this game. I think I'm going to take Boston College here because they've won 5 of their last 7. Their 2 losses were to ranked teams, NC State and Virginia Tech. And I don't know. I think it's not that hard to stop Iowa. So I don't know. My gut feeling is telling me to take Boston College because they've won 5 of their last 7, and they've been a better team down the stretch than Iowa.
My gut says Iowa, but my head says Boston College. Boston College runs the ball really well. They played these great teams closely, Virginia Tech, and I don't know how close that game was, but I know that NC State game.
Yeah, NC State was close.
That was
NC
a field
State was
goal.
close.
They thumped Virginia. They thumped Florida State. This is a team that competed with, the middle of the pack and maybe even the second tier of ACC teams and beat a lot of them. So my head says Boston College, so I'm going to go with Boston College in this one, but my gut says Iowa. I'm the opposite of you, but
right.
I just think Boston College.
We're together with Boston College.
Yeah, they'll be able to run the ball, and they'll get it going.
All right, Holiday Bowl, Michigan State versus Washington State. This game's not going to suck. This game should be a good game.
You go first because I disagree.
You think it's going to suck?
I think it's going to suck.
It could suck. I mean, Michigan State is the best team that still kind of sucks to watch. Would you agree there?
Yeah, I think that's accurate.
So, I just don't really trust Michigan State's offense here. Washington State has more potent of an offense. Michigan State won 17-7 versus Maryland, lost 48-3 to Ohio State, and beat Indiana 17-9. I think that was like 3 of their last 4 games there. So, their offense, I just don't really trust them. I do trust Washington State's offense. Luke Falk's a playmaker, so I'm going to take Washington State.
I'm gonna take Michigan State by double digits.
Oh, okay.
Double digits.
You don't believe in Mike Leach?
No, I think he's hilarious.
I
want Mike Leach to speak for the rest of time. I'm not against Mike Leach in any way as a person. As a coach, he's too random for me. You see them in the Apple Cup, they completely wet the bed, and he's just far too inconsistent. And when it comes to big time matchups against other well coached teams, the vast majority of the time, his teams get outplayed. Well, basically every single snap. Okay. So, Michigan State by double digits.
There's a disagreement right there. All right,
a strong one at that.
Yes.
Strong
Music City Bowl, number 21 Northwestern versus Kentucky. Michael's already laughing here. For me, I look at this and I immediately thought of Northwestern versus Tennessee, where Northwestern had a better record by 2 games than the SEC team that they were facing. Still got blown out, but in this case scenario, Kentucky's not as big, not as fast as a Tennessee-type team. Northwestern's also ripped off 6 wins in a row. Kentucky's lost 4 of its last 6, and the 2 wins in those last 6 games came against Tennessee and Vanderbilt, so how much does that really mean? I think it's just a matter that Northwestern's a hotter team right now, so I'm taking Northwestern. I was going to say the Wildcats, but they're both the Wildcats.
They're both the Wildcats.
That's what induced the silence.
Oh. You have to look at this and think Northwestern's going to win by like 30, right? But then that gives you all the reason to believe they're not going to.
Well, that's exactly why. I could see it being a little bit like the Pinstripe Bowl last year.
I could see that too. I've gone back and forth on this one with 2 different scenarios, but both scenarios I have Northwestern winning. It would be an upset if they don't.
Yeah.
Pretty big one at that. I think Kentucky. I've watched Kentucky play a couple times this year. nothing special. They're nothing Northwestern hasn't seen before. They don't have any elite playmakers. So I got Northwestern. It's Justin Jackson's swan song. It's gonna be. He's gonna rush for 200 yards. They're gonna win like 35-21. But
they should.
Yes. We'll see. They should.
Yes.
That's all the reason.
All right. Cotton Bowl. This one's gonna be good. Can we agree that this one's gonna be good? Ohio State, number 5 Ohio State versus number 8 USC. Mm-hmm. Both teams were maybe the last two teams left out of the college football playoff. Ohio State. I'm gonna take Ohio State here though. Do you have a rebuttal? And if not, I'll just talk about Ohio State.
I do. I think it's going to be USC. You look at the Trojans, they're a 2-loss team, conference champion come the end of the season. No one was talking about them for the college football playoff. I mean, they had a pretty similar resume to Ohio State. Maybe not the
they had the same record.
They had the same record. They
won a conference championship.
Yeah, their losses are that at Washington State for USC, not great, but they beat Stanford handily at home, and then they beat them in the Pac-12 championship. Tough to beat a team twice. So I think their resumes are pretty similar, and yet there are 3 ranking spots separating them. Obviously, that means nothing in terms of the game, but I think USC is not getting as much love as they deserve, and I've never liked USC. I've actually always hated USC, but I think they have great speed at the wide receiver position. Ronald Jones is a great running back that really no one ever talks about. Sam Darnold's great, and I think their defense, especially that front seven, has given teams like Stanford, who has an offensive line that is perennially better than almost everyone else, fits. I've got USC in this one. I think they'll get to JT Barrett and they'll make up another.
I think individually they have more standout players. I know JT Barrett I wouldn't even consider a standout player at this point. J.K. Dobbins definitely a standout player. But I just see Ohio State, both in statistics and the eye test, I think at their peak they're a better offense and a better defense than USC. Ohio State's averaging 42.5 points per game. USC's averaging 34.5. Ohio State also allows just 19.9 points per game, USC 25.6 or 25.3. So I think Ohio State's just better on both sides of the ball, like potentially better. Maybe USC has a higher floor on both sides of the ball, but I think Ohio State wins this one.
I agree with you. At their peak, Ohio State is better. It's just a question of can they get close to that peak because they're inconsistent.
They are, especially this year.
Yeah,
Do I want to trust them? And it seems like each time I put my trust in them, they fall through.
Yep.
So, but that'll be a good game. Another good game, Fiesta Bowl. That's December 30th. Number 9 Penn State versus number 11 Washington. For me here, this is the game. I'll just take whoever you're not taking because I think there's a lot of good matchups here, and I don't necessarily know how they'll play out. Washington's pass defense has been really good. They face Trace McSorley. That'll be fun to watch. I'm not even going to mention Saquon Barkley in that. He's part of the passing game, but
totally.
He's kind of forbidden on this show. So.
Well,
did we ever ban his name? We didn't ban his name.
I don't know, but technically this isn't the show, so we can't talk about it.
All right. Well, anyway, I think that's a good matchup. I think Myles Gaskin and Jake Browning, the running back and quarterback of Washington versus Penn State's defense, is also a really good matchup. And I just don't know how these are going to play out. I haven't seen enough of Washington to make a strict determination who's going to win, who's going to lose. So I'll just take whoever you're not.
I'll take Washington.
All right.
I'll take Washington. I like Gaskin. I like Browning. I think they're very well coached, more so than Penn State. So I'm going to go with Washington.
Okay. Let's move on to the Orange Bowl. This is the second to last game. Also, well, this could be the ultimate. These teams are both really good, and it may not be fun to watch at all.
It might not be.
Number 6 Wisconsin versus number 10 Miami. This game is being played in Miami, in Miami's home stadium. And here, I went back and forth here, but I pretty much leaned on Wisconsin in this one. I think that they're more sound on both sides of the ball. I don't know if they're, again, like with the potential, I think Miami has more speed on both sides of the ball, but I don't know. I could see Wisconsin turning Miami over a decent amount. Miami's last 2 games have been really bad, Pittsburgh and Clemson. And Wisconsin, although they lost to Ohio State in the Big Ten Championship, they showed me that, all right, they can compete with these top-level teams, and they've been able to, win all year. So I'm taking Wisconsin here, even though it's in Miami. I don't know. I don't know what that crowd's going to be like, if it's going to be a really big home field advantage or if it's, all right, we're in the Orange Bowl, we're not in the playoff.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is going to sell out type of deal.
I'm going to take Miami. I think all the points you made are accurate. I don't really disagree with any of them.
That's disappointing.
But I think Miami is going to be able to turn Alex Hornibrook over a couple of times. And when Wisconsin doesn't have the ball that often or for that long, that's going to be a problem.
It could be a lot of turnovers.
It's going to be they're for sure.
From a Wisconsin standpoint, I don't know why you don't just run Jonathan Taylor the entire time.
You would think they would.
And go safe with Alex
But that
Hornibrook.
front seven of Miami is ferocious.
Yeah, and you got that on almost every position group for each team.
Yeah.
Except neither team scores too well. I mean, none of these offenses scare me. These two offenses do not really scare me.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be another defensive game here. I've got Wisconsin. He's got Miami. The final game, pretty anticlimactic, the Outback Bowl, Michigan versus South Carolina here. Brendan Peters will start for Michigan, so I'm kind of leaning towards the Wolverines, but not really thrilled about this one. I think this will show how good Brandon Peters is, because we saw him play against Wisconsin. Now he plays against a good defense, which is not necessarily as good as Wisconsin's defense. A pretty high-level defense. South Carolina is not really a team you'd see in the Big Ten as far as 8-4 and pretty good. Doesn't really have anything terrible on its resume. And I think this defense is a good test, not the toughest test Peters has faced all year, but I'm hoping that he's going to take almost all the snaps and John O'Korn doesn't get many, because from a Michigan standpoint, that's what they need at quarterback. Yeah,
I'm with you. I think South Carolina is a year away. They don't have quite the playmakers to break through this Michigan defense. This could be a low-scoring affair. I really watched South Carolina play against Clemson that last week of the season. That was the only time I really could watch them. I feel like they weren't really on when I was interested. So I didn't really get a good chance to watch them. But there's nothing that you could really sell me on in terms of what South Carolina brings to the table to convince me that they can overcome that Michigan defense. Look, Muschamp is a defensive guy. They could suffocate that Michigan offense. They likely will suffocate that Michigan offense.
It's not that hard to do.
It's not that hard to do that. But the other way around, I just don't know that South Carolina offense can move that Michigan defense down the field
at the beginning of the season when Deebo Samuel, who is their big playmaker, got hurt, that's where, all right, we need to find some skill position players to pick up this offense. And if Deebo Samuel were in this game, it's South Carolina in a heartbeat.
I'd pick South Carolina too.
Right now, I'm probably taking Michigan.
I'm going to have to go Michigan. Close, but...
We disagreed on what, 2?
We disagreed on Washington, Penn State.
Yeah,
we disagreed. Did we disagree on Wisconsin, Miami?
We did.
We disagreed on USC, Ohio State.
Okay.
We disagreed on Washington State, Michigan State.
Right, that's some good disagreement
that's fine. That's half.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Someone's got to win.
Yeah. All right. That wraps up the video. We went pretty long here, but that'll make up for the couple weeks we're not going to have a podcast. I will be out of the country until about January 12th, and then we'll do a podcast the next week. Mike will be gone too, but he'll be back for the early January days. He may be getting some writing up on the site. We'll see what's going on, but the podcast will take a brief 3-week break.
Yeah, it's good timing too. Everybody getting settled into the new year, and we'll give you guys some breathing room. But if you know anyone that's in Vermont, let them know about what we do.
Yes.
We're still looking for that listener.
Yes. If you're still with us about 13 and a half minutes into this video.
First of all, well done.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Find someone in Vermont, because we've got listeners from all 49 states and about 15 different countries, but all 49 states. But we have 49 of 50 states and nobody from Vermont. And
it's unacceptable.
We've been trying to recruit Vermont for a couple weeks now. We just haven't, no luck. So if you know somebody in Vermont, get them to listen. We don't even need to listen. We need a download.
We need a download. It's a download, not a listen.
They don't even need to listen to the show. Just
download.
Just hit that download. It's free, so may as well do it. All right, that'll wrap up these picks, and we will see you in 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks.